Welcome to Sports Battle presented by Play-by-Play Broadcasting Camps. I am JJ Shayab. To my left is Solomon Podorski, and to my right is Andrew Bartle. We're going to be discussing three topics today in sports. First topic, is it a good idea for the Warriors to have Kevin Durant, and how will it help them?
Well, as far as it being a good idea, I think you gotta say, if you can add Kevin Durant in this league, or a player of his caliber, you have to do it. Now, the thing that worries me is we know that they can win without Kevin Durant. We don't know that they can win with him. A lot of times when we've seen teams become this, giant monster, usually it's a three-headed monster. Now with Draymond Green and Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, it's almost a four-headed monster. You see at the beginning of the season, oftentimes they struggled. I mean, last year when Cleveland first became this huge team a couple years ago, they struggled in the early part of the season. When LeBron went to Miami, as well as Chris Bosh, they struggled in the early part of the season. It takes time to build chemistry. I mean, Curry's going to want to get his shots up. Clay's going to want to get his shots up. Durant's going to want to get his shots up. Draymond Green he's going to want to be involved in the pick and roll, but Klay Thompson has already been limited because of Steph Curry and Draymond Green in terms of what he can get. I mean, with what he's doing with the Warriors now and the touches he's getting, you can only imagine what he can do if he was the star of the team. But with Kevin Durant, who also is going to want the ball in his hands, we need to see how those four guys blend together. I don't think we've ever quite seen four players of this caliber all on one team in their primes. So it's going to be interesting. I think if somebody like that, if you got a chance of getting him, you got to just take it. But and I think that they will win the championship this season, but it is a bit of a risk, and I do think they will struggle at the early part of the season.
Good point. Andrew, you have anything to say to that?
I feel like Kevin Durant going to the team, I feel like there are going to be a lot of games where they're going to start out really well, but without the depth on the bench, I think maybe sometimes late in games, teams are going to come back with comebacks. And like you said about chemistry, KD was very frustrated with the type of basketball that they played in OKC. And I guess with the style that they play in Golden State, where they pass it around a lot, I guess maybe he'll be frustrated when he doesn't get that many shots. Or it could work out great like it could. I mean, with 4 stars, I mean, you can't really cover them all. But it also brings a lot of stress because with 4 of those stars, you really think that they're going to win. And with all that stress, it's like if you don't win, then everybody's going to think of you as like the team that couldn't bring it together even with 4 studs.
But something that you have to consider is something that when Kevin Durant went, that brought was people like Ray Allen is now considering coming back to be on the Warriors to get another ring. And David West did go to the Warriors because he wanted a ring. I think that attraction definitely does.
Yeah, another thing I might just butt in for a second is the Warriors feel a lot of pressure because if they don't win the championship, there's no point. And they're not as good in the playoffs either. Like last season, they lost as many games in the playoffs as they did in the regular season.
More even.
9. Okay, next topic. Tom Brady. Should he have been suspended? Andrew, you go first.
All right, I say absolutely no. I feel like Roger Goodell tried him unfair. I feel like if this was brought to a court, then the judge would obviously see that he's innocent, but sadly, Roger Goodell is allowed to call it. I mean, there's no evidence really at all against Tom Brady. There's no direct evidence at all even. It's just indirect evidence against the ball boy. But they say since Tom Brady's the quarterback and he's involved with the footballs, then they suddenly start to blame it on him. And the fine is $35,000 per deflated football. Now it's a huge fine to the team and a 4-game suspension, way over what it should have been. And this was just blown way out of proportion.
Well, I agree that it was blown out of proportion. However, I think there's 2 questions that we need to ask. Is he innocent, and should he have gotten suspended? Whether or not he's innocent, I don't know. The fact that he blew up his phone, while I privacy that they shouldn't have been able to. That's just too fishy to just be left alone. I think the NFL, the investigation was done very poorly. So I think some of the information that they have and they used should not have been used. It should not have been allowed to use. And so judging by that, I think he shouldn't have been suspended. But judging by some of the things he did, when you ask the question of is he innocent, I don't think he's completely innocent, but I don't think he should have gotten suspended, maybe fined, and if he got suspended, it definitely should not have been 4
Can I
games.
say something again really quick?
Yeah.
Well, I feel, when you actually, he destroyed his phone, but he actually does that in the past a lot. I mean, what person, there's people out there that will want his phone and like totally invade his privacy and maybe try to hack it even, and he does this a lot. It's like not a new thing. He's done it in the past. I agree it would be fishy if it were the first time in general, but he's done it before, so I feel like it's not as fishy as people are saying it is. And one more thing though, what would be the motive? The Patriots were favored way over the Colts by a lot, and why would he want to deflate the footballs anyway?
Okay, so now I have to go to our last question. This one is about the Cubs. How far are they gonna go, and why?
I think at the beginning of the season, the starting pitcher's ERA was under 2.5. That's just ridiculous. I don't think that's going to hold up. I think they're a good team. They got a lot of power. I just don't think that's going to hold up. Maybe they make it to the NLCS, but I think that's as far as I see them going.
Well, I feel like they've been in a slump, but I feel like it's just because they need a break because they've been working so hard and their hitting has been really consistent. It's just that the pitching has been letting up, and I think the pitchers are going to be able to rest their arms, and I feel like I don't want to be too sure about anything, but I feel like they're going to go really far in the playoffs and maybe even a World Series.
Well, I have to remind you of the Billy Goat curse, but that's all the time we have for today. JJ, to my left is Solomon, to my right is Andrew, signing out.